In the past 6 years, I've done over $13 million in sales on Amazon. And along the way, I've made pretty much every mistake you can possibly think of. Some of these mistakes costed me thousands of dollars, others costed me months of wasted time. But every single one taught me something valuable. And here's the thing, I wish someone had sat me down 3 years ago and told me what I'm about to tell you today. It would have saved me so much frustration, so much wasted effort, and honestly, probably a lot of money too. So today I want to share 7 lessons that completely changed how I run my Amazon business. These aren't just random tips I found online and things that sound good in theory. They're the exact principles that has helped me go from making a few $1,000s a month to building something that actually lasts. So the first lesson is don't fall in love with products. Here's something no one ever tells you when you're first starting out. That winning product that you found, the one making you 5 grand or maybe let's say even 10 grand a month, right? It won't last forever. I learned this the hard way. About a couple months into my Amazon journey, I think this was about 4 months in, I found a product that was doing really, really well. I mean, like really, really well. I was making great money every single month, and I thought, okay, this is it. I'm set. I found my golden goose. So I got really complacent, really comfortable. I stopped looking for new products. I thought, why bother? This one's already working great. But then something happened. The supplier stopped selling it. Like, it's crazy. Just like that. No warning. And suddenly my income dropped like by more than half. It got like sliced and I panicked. I scrambled to find something new and I realized that I had made a huge mistake by putting all my eggs in one basket. That's when it hit me. You can never rely on just one product or even just 2 or 3 products. The market changed, suppliers change their minds, and sometimes you lose access to products for reasons you can't even control. Maybe Amazon changes a policy, maybe a brand decides that they don't want third-party sellers anymore. So the solution is always be sourcing new products, even when things are going great. You need to keep finding opportunities, and that's how you keep the money coming in month after month. That's how you protect yourself from all of these unexpected changes. And the second lesson is to be consistent, right? This one is very, very simple, but most people don't do it. If you want your Amazon business to work, you have to treat it like a real job, even if it's just a side hustle for you. And I see this all the time, right? People get excited, they work really hard for like 2 weeks, they find a couple products, they make some sales, then life gets busy, which I also understand, but it's an excuse. They take a week off, they take another week, before you know it, a whole month has gone by and they haven't even done anything. And then they wonder why their business isn't growing. So I want you to set a schedule. Maybe it's 6 hours a week, maybe it's 8 hours, maybe it's 10 hours, right? Whatever you decide, stick to it. Block it out on your calendar like it's a meeting you can't miss, because that's exactly what it is. It's a meeting with yourself, with your future self, with your financial freedom. I used to work on my Amazon business every Tuesday and Friday night from I think like 7 to like 10 p.m. A little bit flexible, and every like Saturday morning from like 8 a.m. all the way to lunchtime. And that was my schedule when I was still working my full-time job at RBC. And some weeks I wanted to skip it. I was tired. I had other things going on, but I still showed up anyways. Because the truth is, inconsistent effort gets you inconsistent results. You can't work on your business for 2 weeks, take a month off, come back for a few days, and expect it to grow. It doesn't work that way. This isn't a lottery ticket, it's a business. So I want you to show up, do the work week after week, and that's how you win. The third lesson is lead with value. When I first started reaching out to suppliers and brands, I made a huge mistake. I'd send them a message basically asking, hey, can you give me a discount? What's your best price, right? And guess what? Most of them ignored me. Almost all of them would either say no or they'll give me terrible pricing that literally wasn't even worth pursuing. And I was really frustrated. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I thought these people were just trying to make my life difficult. And then I learned something really important. You have to give before you ask. Think about it from their perspective. They get dozens, maybe hundreds of emails every single week from people asking for discounts. So why would they, of all people, right? Like you're like no one, right? Just a name on the screen. Why would they give you special treatment if you're just another person asking for something? Suppliers and distributors care about one thing, which is money. They want orders, they want someone who's serious and professional. Someone who's going to actually buy products and not waste their time. So instead of just asking for I started showing them I was a real business. I placed small orders first. I paid on time, I was polite and professional in every interaction. I followed through on everything I said I would do. I did good business. And once I started leading with value, everything changed. I got better accounts, better relationships, better deals. One supplier I worked with now, we've been working together for well over a year and a half now. He gives me access to products that most other sellers can't even get. Why? Because I built trust. I showed him I was serious. I proved I could do volume. I could sell and buy volume, right? So the lesson is, don't just take. Give first, be professional. That's what opens doors. The fourth lesson is to play the long game. Here's where most people mess up. They think in days and not weeks. They want fast money, quick wins, and instant results. And I get it, right? I was the same when I first got started. I wanted to see big profits immediately. But that's not how you build something real. You have to think in years, not months, but years. Let me give you an example. I have a supplier I've been working with for almost a year now. In the beginning, I was only making maybe, I don't know, like $500 to $600 a month. It wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't life-changing money, but I kept at it. I kept ordering. I kept building up that relationship. And fast forward to today, that same supplier, that wholesale account, accounts for over like 80 grand a month in revenue for me, right? Because I stuck with it, because I played the long game. Instead of chasing every new shiny opportunity, find a few good suppliers and build lasting relationships with them. I want you to be authentic, follow Amazon's terms of services, and do things the right way, even if you're only making small profits at first, because it compounds over time. It's like investing in the stock market. You don't get rich overnight, but if you stay consistent, if you keep putting in the work, the returns will start to add up. So stop chasing quick money, stop jumping from strategy to strategy every time something doesn't work in the first place. Lesson 5. Prioritize stable demand, because I used to think trendy products were the way to go, like the hot items, the thing that's trending on TikTok, the one that everyone's talking about, the thing that's literally blowing up on social media. And yeah, sometimes you can make good money on those, but here's what I learned. Trends don't last, and seasonal products only make you money a few months out of the year. I remember one time I found this product that was trendy around the holidays. It was selling like hotcakes. It was absolutely crazy. I was making at least a couple $1,000s a month. A week, every single week, couple $1,000s. Then January came by and sales dropped off the cliff. It literally went like this. Suddenly I was stuck with inventory that I couldn't move and money tied up that I couldn't spend. That's when I realized that I'd rather have consistent, predictable income than big spikes followed by, cliffs and nothing. So now I focus on products with stable demand. Items that have been selling consistently for at least a year. Products where the price stays pretty much steady. Things people want year-round, kitchen products, home essentials, groceries. These are categories and niches that aren't tied to specific trends or seasons. Why? Because stability equals predictable cash flow. You can plan, you can scale, you know what to expect. When you look at these products and see it's been selling 100 units a month for the last year and a half, and the price has stayed between $25 and $30, that gives you confidence because you can predict it. It's not going to tank in price next month, and you get a lot of confidence. And that's another topic I could dive deeper in at another video. But that's what lets you grow your business without constantly worrying if the money is going to dry up next month. The sixth lesson is to hire for value and not price. When I first started hiring people, I made the classic mistake. I went for the cheapest option and I thought, why pay more when I could get someone for less? I'd see virtual assistants offering the services for like $3 an hour and I'd think, perfect, that's great. But that's a big mistake. Cheap labor usually equals low quality. The person I hired couldn't even find good products. They made mistakes. They needed constant supervision. I spent literally more time fixing problems and explaining things than I would have spent if I was just to do it myself. I was trying to save money, but in reality, I was actually just losing money because I wasn't getting any real value. So now I hire A players, skilled people, reliable people, people who know what they're doing. And yes, they do cost a lot more, and sometimes a lot more, but here's the thing, they bring way more value. I had one virtual assistant who found like a handful of profitable products within like 2 months of starting. And that turned into a massive revenue boost. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales that I wouldn't have had otherwise. Could I have paid less for someone else? Sure, yeah, I could have, but I wouldn't have gotten those results. Good people pay for themselves. They find better products. They work faster. They need less hand-holding. They solve problems instead of creating them. So please don't chase cheap. Hire for value, invest in quality people. It pays. Like, trust me on that one. That's like a lesson that I've learned. The seventh lesson is profit over margin, right? And this is probably one of the most important lessons of all of them. And it's because a lot of people obsess over margin percentages. They want 40%, 50% margins. Like I literally see it all the time. Someone will turn down a product because it's only like 18% margin, or they'll brag about having like 60, 70% margins on a product. And while that's cool, here's what actually matters. How much money ends up in your bank account at the end of the month. That's called cash flow. Let me break this down with you with real examples. Let's say you have a product A with 40% margin. You buy it for $30, you sell it for $50. That's pretty good margins. But if you only sell 5 units a month, you're making like $100 in profit. Then you have product B with 15% margin. You buy it for $50, but you sell it for $59. The margin looks terrible compared to product A, but this one sells 300 times a month. That's 2.7K in profit. Which one would you rather have? I take product B because every single time I'd rather make 10K a month on a 15% margin than, make 2 grand in a month on 50% margin. Lower margin, higher volume products can make you way more money than high margin items that barely sells. And this is something I had to learn the hard way. I used to skip over so many good opportunities because I was chasing high margins and I was leaving literally like money on the table. So I want you to remember this. A small slice of a bigger pie beats a big slice of a tiny one. Focus on profit, real profit, the actual dollars and money that hit your bank account. That's what pays your bills and builds your future, not some percentage that looks good on paper but doesn't actually put food on the table. Okay, so let's recap everything that we just covered. Always diversify your products. Don't fall in love with one winner because it won't last forever. I want you to stay consistent with your efforts. Treat this like a real business because it really is. Build strong value-based relationships with your suppliers by giving before you ask. Think long-term and not in days or weeks, but in years. Focus on products with stable demand so you're not riding a roller coaster every single month. I want you to hire quality people who bring real value, not just the cheapest options that you can find, and prioritize real profits, actual dollars in your bank account over vanity metrics like ROI, percentages, right? These 7 lessons took me like literally 2 years to learn. They costed me a lot of time and money and more than a few headaches. But now I'm sharing them with you so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did. If I could go back and tell my younger self these exact things when I was just starting out, I'd be way further ahead. But that's okay because live and learn. But now that I'm sharing it with you, hopefully they help you skip some of these very painful lessons and get you to the good stuff faster. If you have any questions about anything that I talk about, check out my Instagram, FBA Jeffrey, and I'm happy, send me a message. I'm happy to help. I read every message. I try to respond in a timely manner, but overall, these are the 7 lessons that I've learned after scaling my business to $13 million in sales. Full proof, if you go to my older YouTube videos, you would see I talked a lot worse, and you would also see a lot of proof and kind of how I scaled my business. But as always, if you found this video very helpful, I would really appreciate it if you left a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I'm trying to be more consistent with these YouTube videos as well. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching.